Imagine being teleported to 2035. Well, we're here. We did it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cricketing with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. Now, you see this design on my shirt. I did not create this design. This was given as a gift to me by Patrice at Craftable Things. She does have this file on sale in her Etsy shop. I will leave a link to that below. Now, if you did not get a chance to see all of this awesome goodness that I unboxed earlier, I will make sure to leave a link to my unboxing below this video. In today's tutorial, you guys, we are doing the very basics of using a rhinestone file. Now, the two questions I know I'm going to get, let me just answer them now. The first question that I'm going to get is, how does it wash? I don't know because I have not washed it. In fact, I haven't even made it yet. Okay, so there's that. Number two, the question I'm going to get is, how do you create a file? I don't know because I haven't created a file yet. I am downloading this file and this shirt was given to me as a gift. Now, I have pressed a rhinestone shirt previously. However, I also have not washed that shirt. So if those are your questions, just save them, okay? Because I don't have the answers for that. All right, but what I am going to do is take you through this full process. I am going to go step by step and I won't leave anything out. I will show you all of the materials I'm going to use and I will show you the process the way that it was demonstrated for me. If you find this process helpful at the end of this video, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The materials I'm going to use for this project include my green standard grip mat, KTM Mask that is designed to be used with rhinestone flock. I'm using Rocket flock that I purchased from Heat Transfer Warehouse. Both of these products were purchased from Heat Transfer Warehouse. I am using a chopping mat that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. And I'm using SS10 rhinestones. The color of the rhinestones is gold orange AB. I purchased these in a buy-in from Eve at the Baby's Booty. The heat press that I'm going to use is my StarCraft clamshell 15x15. The Cricut device that I'm using is the original Cricut Maker. I'm also using something called a trim painter that was purchased locally. I think I got this one from Home Depot. It looks like this. The package that I purchased looks like this. However, if you're not able to find them locally, I will leave a link to trim painters from Amazon below this video. We will get the design from Creative Fabrica and we will get the file uploaded into Cricut Design Space. Let's head on over to the Creative Fabrica website. And the first thing I'm going to do is a search for a rhinestone template. And I'm going to look at all of the options that come up and I am going to show you the file that I'm planning to use for this project. Let me do rhinestone templates. Okay, so this is a different search and I am going to use this file right here that just says blessed. And I've already downloaded this file, but I'm going to show you how to download it again. Now, I do think it's important to pay attention to the size of the stones because I am using SS10s, so I need to use a file that will accommodate SS10s. Let me go back so I can show you what I mean when I'm expressing that. So right here, I can see that this file, this first file right here is an SS10. These three at the top are all SS10s. But if I look at this file that has the alphabet right here, these are intended to be used with SS6. So if you have multiple sizes of rhinestones, that's perfect because you could use an SS6 for this one. However, be mindful of the size that is needed for a file. Okay, so I'm going to click that file that I already selected. I'm going to choose to download the file. I'm going to select it right here in the bottom left corner. I'm going to choose extract all. I'm going to select browse, and I'm going to put this on my desktop. Well, I was going to put it on my desktop, but I will navigate to my Creative Fabrica file folder, and I will go to my Rhinestone files. I'm going to double click in the folder, and I'm going to create a new folder that is called Blessed Rhinestone Template. Okay. And now I'm going to select that folder. So now when the files are extracted, they will go directly into that folder. I'm going to click extract, and now I have the file saved there. And the one that I'll be using is the one that is considered as a Microsoft Edge HTML document that is also an SVG. I am in Cricut Design Space, and I'm connected to my Cricut Maker. Before I upload the file, I do want to show you what my custom material setting looks like. I am going to cut this out using the heavy cardstock with more pressure setting, and on my Cricut Maker I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click these three lines. I'm going to go to manage custom materials, and then I'm going to navigate to my Cricut Maker. And when my options come up, I'll scroll down to let you see what the cut pressure is for heavy cardstock on my Cricut Maker. Okay, so I can see the material name here in the first column. The second column will let me know what the cut pressure is. Okay, so I'm scrolling down, and I'm just going to look for the option for heavy cardstock. I can see it right here. Heavy cardstock is cut at a cut pressure of 282. It is not a multi-cut option, and I'm going to use my fine point blade. Okay, just in case you needed to know that. Okay, so now I am going to upload the file. I'm going to click upload image. I'm going to click browse. I'm going to navigate to where my folder is, my Creative Fabrica files. I'm going to look in my Rhinestone files. I'm going to look for my Blessed Rhinestone template, and I'm going to open the one that is the SVG. Okay, it lets me know that this is a big image, and instead of it being called 3-01, I'm going to call this, I'm just going to name it Blessed Rhinestone Template. Okay, and I'm going to click upload, and I am going to select the file, and I'm going to add it to my canvas. Okay, and when the file comes in, I can see that there is this black square behind it, and I see all of these other pieces. Now this is actually the holes for the rhinestone. So I don't know if you remember, but the size, the width of the file was 9.36 when I looked at it on the Creative Fabrica website, and I know that I don't need this square. So what I'm going to do is I am going to navigate back to the top. I'm looking at my layers panel, and I am going to ungroup this, and I am going to move this square. Let's move the square out of the way. Okay, I'm going to just select the square, and I'm just going to move it out of the way because I don't need it. Now let me bring the view down on my screen to right at 50%, and hopefully you can see I did not change the size of the rhinestone template. I didn't even bother with the rhinestone template. All I did was move the square away, and I'm just going to turn it off. I'm not going to delete it. What I'm going to do with the rest of this is select the whole thing, and I am going to attach it. Now, even though the size said 9.36 on the Creative Fabrica site, and here it says 9.37, I can tell that this was just rounded up, because once I look up here at the top menu, I can still see that the width is 9.36. I'm not going to resize it at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be very careful not to resize it. Okay, so I am good to go. I am ready to click Make It. Okay, and it says sorting mats by color. I only have one color, and I am going to go ahead. I'm not going to mirror this or anything like that. I'm going to click Continue. Okay, and I am going to select the heavy cardstock setting as I indicated. So I'm going to browse all materials because that one is not saved as one of my favorites. So I'm going to choose heavy cardstock, and I'm going to select it right here. I'm going to click Done, and I am going to change the pressure from default to more, and everything that I'll do from here will be back on the camera. I have my standard grip green mat. I am going to remove the cover from the mat, and I am going to grab my flock. And I have not opened this one yet, and I already have some more flock on the way because I feel that I am going to be doing a lot of blinging. And what I want to do is make sure that the size of flock that I put on the mat is enough to cut the size of the rhinestone template. So when I look at the size on the prepare screen, I know that I need to come over to at least 10 inches in width, and I need to go down to a little below the 5-inch mark. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way over to 10 and down a little bit past the 5-inch mark. I'm going to put this on my mat, and I'm using a super sticky mat because I just want to be using it. Actually, this is a brand new mat. I just want to be careful, and I want it to stick really well. If you don't have a new mat, it's okay. Just come down a little bit past the 5 and right at 10. Just go a little bit past the 10. Okay. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of tape to that just to make sure it stays adhered to the mat. I am going to get this inserted into the Cricut Maker. And I am going to grab my little foil right quick and just clean this blade just by poking it in the foil, just to make sure it's nice and clean. Or whatever this does, we are ready. And I am going to click the C. I am going to speed this part up, but I will let you know how long it takes to cut. Now, before I remove the mat from the machine, let me note, it took 18 minutes to cut that one word. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, even though I know you won't be able to tell. It doesn't look like anything is cut, but we'll notice it once we get closer and I start to remove the flock from the backing. So let's move over to the table and I will start to get the flock removed. Because my table is brown and I don't want to risk losing any rhinestones, not even one, I am going to put a piece of butcher paper right here on top, and I am going to get the mat removed from the machine, and I'm going to remove the flock from the mat. Peel this away. from this white backing. Now this is something that I learned from Eve at the Baby's Booty, and hopefully you can see this very well, what I'm doing here. So I'm just pulling this back. The goal is to not have any holes left on the pink flock, but I can still see that there are plenty of them, but there, it did cut a lot of them through. Okay, so carefully place the flock to the side, and you can see that it cut out a lot of the holes. I still see a lot that did not get cut out. So one thing I learned from Eve is to just turn this backing over. I am going to stick this to the back and try it again. The goal is for all of those pink dots to be removed. So I'm going to stick it here and try to pull it up again. And if any of the holes are still stuck or still in there, I'm going to just pull them apart. So I wonder if I should have used a heavier cut setting, even though it got most of the holes out. I'll speed this part up. Now, hopefully you can see that that took a while. So I ended up using this butcher paper to help me remove some of those pink dots, because the goal is to not have any dots filled in. All of those dots, all of the holes should be open so that when it's time to brush in the stones, I can. So I'm looking at it very carefully. I'm gonna pull it back so you can look at it also. And now this is where the chopping mat from the Dollar Tree comes into play. So I am going to grab another piece of butcher paper. I can throw this in the trash, and I would probably use a different cut setting, to be honest. If I were going to do this again, I would increase the pressure. All right, so I have the Dollar Tree chopping mat right here, and what I'm going to do is just place the flock template on top of this chopping mat, just like this. I want to make sure it's adhered to the mat very well, so you can, hopefully you can see that it is adhered to the mat. Make sure you can get a good look at that. And what I'm going to do now is grab my rhinestones and my brush, and I am going to pour some of these stones on the template. Patrice said, don't be scared. So I'm not going to pour too many. I don't think I need this many, but whatever is off to the side will be caught with the butcher paper. I'm going to close this up and put it right here. And the method that Patrice suggests is the one that's used in the Karate Kid with wax on or wax off. So I'm going to brush gently in a circular motion. And what I'm doing is brushing the stones into those open holes. I have my heat press heating up to 350 degrees. The recommended setting is 350 degrees for 12 seconds. All right, let's get a good look at it and see if there are any extra stones anywhere or if I am missing a stone. So I'm going to be very careful right here to not lift this up, but to look at it and make sure that every hole is filled in and that there are no extra stones. So I have looked over my design. I actually rubbed my hands across it very lightly to make sure there were no extra stones, and I looked at it multiple times very closely to make sure that every single hole was filled in and that there isn't an extra stone here that I don't need. So all of my stones are moved to the side. I'm going to get them put back into this container, And I am going to get ready to do what is considered as the hardest part of using a rhinestone file. But let me get these put back in this container. The next step, after you have the rhinestones brushed in and you've checked and double checked and you were careful not to move the template, is to get the KTM mask. From what I've been told, it's reusable multiple times. And it's important to be very careful because these rhinestones are literally like a magnet to this mask. It looks like one already like jumped off the mat. So I want to be careful about that. Now, what is recommended is that you get it a little bit less sticky by sticking it to your clothes and then, a couple of times. So I'm going to show you what that means. This black shirt is the shirt that I'm actually going to be putting this design on. So I'm just going to put the mask on there and peel it off. I'll just do that 2 or 3 times just to get it less sticky. And then I'll move the shirt out of the way and do what Eve suggests, which is commit. So I'm being very careful about not moving the design. And hopefully you have your fingers crossed for me, because I am going to try to get this placed on the design. Okay, Eve suggests using like a taco method, if you will. So I have the transfer mask in both of my hands, and I'm going to carefully put this down on top of the design, kind of fast but also carefully. So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I did it. I did it. I did it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is make sure that all of these rhinestones are stuck to the transfer mask. So I'm just kind of burnishing the way I would do if this were, I don't know, vinyl. It looks good. Now it's time for me to do a pre-press on my shirt and get a crease. Have my shirt. This is a Gildan heavy cotton shirt. So rhinestones work on cotton, they work on polyester, they work on cotton polyester blends. All right, the recommended setting is 350 degrees for 12 seconds. So I'm going to do a quick pre-press. All right. And I'm going to open the shirt up. Got my crease down the middle. Still going to come down 3 finger lengths from the top. I am going to carefully remove the transfer tape from the flock, and we will get this pressed on our shirt. So once you start peeling it back, if you see that any of the rhinestones are not stuck to the transfer tape, push it back down and get them attached to the transfer tape. So far, so good. So I am pulling this back at an angle. And I see one. What I want to do with this one that would not cooperate, I don't know if you can see that one stuck right there. I'm going to take it out by hand and try to put it in the right place. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's what I'm going to do. And I can tell where it goes because there's a little indentation right there. Okay, it's important to be careful right here. Don't let your transfer tape get stuck to itself. And this is the design. Now let's get it placed on the shirt. So this is the finished product, and what am I going to say? I love it. I love it. I love it so much. So let me tell you what I loved about this process. I love the fact that now I have a template, and if I were into sales and I needed to make 10 shirts with this file, I could do it and I wouldn't have to cut this template ever again. I love the bling in these rhinestones. I think these are much blingier. And I don't know if that's an actual word, but I just made it a word. I think these stones are much blingier than I thought they would be. I'm quite impressed with the quality and the shine of them. I do think it is important to have your materials ready for every step of the process. I think it's hard to try to get ready in between steps. I think it's important to have enough space, adequate space for brushing in the stones and then cleaning them up to put them back in the container as you go along. I think what would have made things a lot easier for me would have been if I would have had the wax pen that helps to pick up miscellaneous stones or turn them over. I did order one, however, it had not come in by the time I recorded this tutorial. So I will leave a link to it below though, in case you are interested in getting started with this process. I think that is a very necessary tool. I think these Dollar Tree chopping mats are the perfect resource for storing your templates, because now if I had another template already cut, I can have it saved here, and I could even put two, or depending on the size of the template, I could put some on the back. I think that they take extra special care to package the rhinestones at the baby's booty. You can tell that all of those rhinestones were packaged with care, and that is very important to me. I do think that we're probably going to have a lasting relationship, because I would be concerned about ordering stones from anywhere else just yet. But I do think it's reasonable to take your time in this process, not overspend. Do not take advice from me in terms of spending, because I am not a good person, a good resource for advice on that. I do think that I will definitely be trying more rhinestone templates. I'm not quite ready to learn how to make the templates yet, but I am eager and excited about the templates that I was able to find on Creative Fabrica. Please leave me any comments or questions you have down below. If there was something you needed clarification on that I went through, or if I went through any part of it fast, you can also slow the video down, or you can rewind it as much as you need to. I am willing to answer any questions you have about this process, with the exception of questions about a wash update, because I have not washed this shirt yet. I literally just pressed it just now, so I don't have any information for you about that. Okay, so hopefully you found this tutorial helpful, and if you did, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.